creepy, and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
In the US, eggs are only sold in a refrigerator, but everywhere else from Mexico to France and Australia, they're always just sitting out in the store at room temperature.
This is because the US government requires all eggs to be washed and sanitized to remove dirt, bacteria, and reduce the risk of foodborne illnesses like salmonella.
But here's the catch.
This process also strips off the egg's natural protective layer called the cuticle.
Now, this is done to protect the safety of the public food supply and protect public health.
But because washing also removes the natural protective cuticle from the eggshell, well, it makes the eggs more susceptible to contamination later. So to keep them safe, the US refrigerates them.
But in every other country, they don't wash their eggs.
They leave that natural cuticle intact, which acts like a shield against bacteria. This means they can safely store their eggs at room temperature. And what about salmonella?
Well, some countries vaccinate their hens against salmonella to make it safer.
US trusted chemical than natural protection. My eggs sometimes still have poops on it.
I'm about to prove to you that this Miami alien incident that we had earlier this year was 100% real, and there's an underwater alien base off the coast of Florida. Let's get into it. Proof starts right here with a remote viewing session from the CIA done in 1987 where the remote viewer projected his consciousness to several alien bases throughout the world. He gives you details about 3, but we are focusing on the Titan base today. Now, if you want to hear about the other 2 bases detailed in this document, just let me know in the comments, but moving on with the Titan base. Second page showed these coordinates right here were associated with the Titan base. The problem I had though is I couldn't find these coordinates on a map. They didn't show up anywhere. So I did a little digging and I entered the first coordinate by itself into a DuckDuckGo search and it came up with this. It is shorthand for Miami-Dade County where the aliens popped up at, but let's keep going. There's another remote viewing session done about these bases and the coordinates are much clearer in this one. So I took my first coordinate, which I knew was shorthand for Miami-Dade, and then I entered the second coordinate as it was, and look what I found. Titan base is located off the coast of Florida in the middle of the ocean, directly across from the Miami-Dade Mall where those aliens showed up. I'm telling you, it was aliens at the mall in Miami.
Ryan Garcia just came out again saying aliens are in the water. Going onto the mountain alone was never safe, especially if you're a girl. Whether it's the terrain or the risk of being mocked. Poor girl, she just wanted an adventure.
Finally, the list of 15 celebrities' names who attended Diddy's wild parties is shared to the public to witness. Well, if you don't know this, a new footage just dropped, and it's got some of the biggest names in Hollywood completely shaken after rumors of their participation in Diddy's secretive parties. This has become like a real-life Epstein scandal. These celebs were supposedly filmed without their knowledge, and now the tapes are out, showing things that could ruin careers forever. As Diddy's in jail, his bail denied, and his legal team's desperate to get him out. But the judge says there's too much risk. He might go after witnesses to protect himself. And get this too, Cassie, Diddy's ex, is at the center of it all. She's filed lawsuits claiming he forced her into these situations while he filmed it all. Other women are coming forward too, and now more celebrities are getting dragged into the mess. It's getting ugly, and people are so desperate to discover the names of these 15 celebrities who are named in this list. Before seeing the list, who do you expect to be named in it?
Pretty much the only person who not on the list is Cat Williams.
Imagine the passenger behind you on a plane put their legs up on your armrest to stop you from reclining your seat. This actually happened on a flight from Hong Kong to London, and passengers have been banned because of it. A Chinese woman on board of the Cathay Pacific flight said she was asked by the couple behind her to straighten her seat so they could view the TV better, but she refused to, and the wife stretched her legs and put it on the armrests of her seat. The wife is then reported to have started slapping her arm and telling her off in Cantonese, and the husband, who was seated directly behind her, frantically pushed the back of her seat, the woman said. The woman asked a flight attendant for support, who, to her surprise, suggested that she straighten her seat. I rejected the suggestion, the woman said. Other passengers who witnessed the incident, which took place on the 17th of September, criticised the couple's behaviour. The couple have now been added to Cathay Pacific's no-fly list. They said they have a strict zero-tolerance policy towards behaviours that disrespect fellow passengers.
People who are saying that seats shouldn't be reclined are clearly the ones who never travel abroad. with a more than 10-hour flight.
Check this out. You have an arm to grab things. I'm about to jump inside and dive 100 meters underwater. Ready? And that's your interior.
Wow.
It's a two-seater. That right there is your screen with your compass, your speed and temperatures. That right here is your arm. And this right here is your remote control to drive this thing.
Whoa.
It's gonna be freaking crazy. So right now we are 35 meters underwater. So look, so I have this little guy, which is my arm. So I can actually bring that up. I can open and close. And that, to open it, I can also turn it. Twist it, you see you twist it like that. Wow, this is crazy. So we have like a boat, a shipwreck. Right now we are 84 meters.
Until the battery dies of the controller and you start sinking.
She's away!
Ooh.
Woo! Wow, there they are. They got her. They got her. Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yeah. Oh, yes, sir! Woo. Come on. She got one crop.
I think she's sleepwalking.
We're outside the MDC Brooklyn. This is the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, and the side entrance where you can see there is a significant gate held by the U.S. Department of Justice Federal Bureau of Prisons. As we look up at this building, we're not sure which window is Diddy's, but this is where he is being held. And a federal judge has said this is where he's going to stay until he goes to trial. When that will be, we just don't know. His next court appearance will be September 24th. But in the meantime, behind the scenes, we know that he most likely gets a 6 a.m. wake-up call. That's from a former warden who talked to TMZ, who said that he will most likely have to mop his own floors and make his bed.
No way.
Some of his movements will be restricted because he's in a special housing unit. He's not with the general population right now for obvious reasons, for his own security. This is a detention center that is notorious for violence. In fact, there was an inmate that was killed just this summer, and there's been a lot of security issues, and it's not just complaints from the inmates, it's also complaints from former staffers, and there's a lot of watchdog groups who have also noted a list of horrible problems here at this facility. But this is where Diddy is going to sit until he goes to trial. Think about that, how many months that could be. It could be a really long time, but if his attorneys have anything to do with it, he'll be moved to Essex County to a different facility. But as we look here behind these gates and up into this concrete mass of a building, we think about how different life is today for Sean Diddy Combs than it was when he was at his Miami mansion, his homes in LA, and in New York. We'll have more as the story develops.
Diddy must be losing his mind.
These are the Winklevoss twins, and they had a problem. Mark Zuckerberg stole their idea for Facebook. It was 2004, and they hired a genius coder to build their idea. If you've ever seen The Social Network, then you know that a few months later when it launched, the twins weren't a part of it. So they sued Zuckerberg. After a 4-year-long lawsuit, the twins finally settled for $65 million, $20 million in cash and $45 million in Facebook stocks. And even though they hated Zuck, they held onto the shares because they believed in the company's potential. By 2012, those same stocks were worth over $200 million. Around that same time, the twins discovered Bitcoin, when it was just $8 a coin. They were so intrigued, they spent months researching the currency, and their conclusion was Bitcoin would be way bigger than Facebook. So they bought 1% of all the Bitcoins in circulation, and it cost them $11 million in 2013. And while most people thought the twins were dumb, they didn't see Bitcoin as a currency, but as a financial revolution. To them, Bitcoin was a limited supply, only 21 million coins ever. It's decentralized, so no government control or manipulation, and it was borderless. You could send money instantly anywhere. But the crypto world in 2015 was the wild, wild west, and the brothers saw another opportunity, so they created Gemini, which is basically a stock exchange, but for digital currencies. And by doing this, it brought more trust and security to the crypto world, while also building their digital empire. Fast forward to 2020 when COVID hit and governments printed trillions, which got people thinking of Bitcoin as a digital gold, making a single coin worth $60,000. That means the Winklevoss brothers have billions in Bitcoin, $500 million in Facebook stock, and a crypto empire that grows every year. and it all started with suing Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, the twins didn't know how to code and got outworked.
Welcome to Senegal, the heart of West Africa.
Senegal.
And at its center lies the national phenomenon of lamb. Lamb, Senegal's traditional sport, is a unique blend of wrestling stars from across the globe.
This is awesome. Seeing a rugby player take on lamb is wild. Athleticism in action.
Yep, this is it for us, as experts have found this larger-than-Earth, angry, violent creature coming out of space, and they've been watching us. People were terrified after one man in Scotland went viral when he discovered a super eerie Titan-like creature seemingly just standing behind our moon, it's been waiting to attack. This gets creepier as people from all parts of the world, like England to Mexico and even the US, recorded the exact same thing but from different angles, saying they can see it on camera and in person too. The haunting footage shows the size of the face being at least twice the moon, meaning this creature can measure up to 12 or 14 moons in height, and our time starting now might just be borrowed. And this is not the first time it happened, as in February of this year, a man was breathless as he caught the same face looking right into us, and it has now come back.
I've got me a better quality camera to catch this thing in the sky. There he is. It's a huge face looking right down on us.
Although if they are being outside our planet, I don't believe they look like us. This is likely just very impressive editing.
That's giant. Diddy feeling like a Puerto Rican in that hair. See, this is why Toyota will always dominate the warlord market. You get what you pay for.
Focaccia più bella del mondo.
Wow. Oh, it must be delicious. I don't know how you can love someone you never met, but I sure do. Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sing it! Of the people that live there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sing it.
Meow, 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 meow.
Of the people that live there.
Yeah. Is this concert in Springfield?
A video lasting over a minute was filmed by British researchers during a geological survey in the Indian Ocean. When the autonomous robot was lowered more than 1,100 meters deep into the seabed, it unexpectedly encountered a peculiar-shaped creature swimming in front of it. According to observations, this creature has a black body and a fairly symmetrical shape, resembling two axes fused together. While people were still speculating about what kind of creature it was, suddenly it transformed into a spherical shape with multiple glowing veins of surreal colors attached to a soft and flowing lower body like a piece of silk fabric. Not stopping there, after a few seconds of swimming in front of the camera, this creature suddenly darted away, then separated its body into two distinct pieces before disappearing into the dark water. It is known that this is a rare and unique video footage of this mysterious creature captured up to the present time, and its identity has yet to be determined.
We have explored only 10% of the ocean.
Look at this.
Wow.
The seats are levitating. That is super cool. Look in the middle. What you have is a teapot specifically designed just for this car. You even have the little cups. I'm gonna sit inside. One of the first people to ever sit inside. Below me is the sky. This is actually a Japanese tatami mat, and I feel like I'm flying. Over here on the headrest, you have an AI-powered system that can read your heartbeat, your brain waves to recommend different kinds of music. What you'll see is that this is kind of like floating. The Nissan logo is floating, has a digital panel behind it, but then you have the physical part right here. Look at these rims. These are so cool. It's pieces being held together without any kind of nails. This car is called the Nissan Hyper Tourer, and it's the epitome of luxury for Nissan. What do you guys think?
I think it looks amazing, but haters gonna hate.
A missing 6-year-old boy has finally been found after a 70-year search. Luis Armando Albino was kidnapped from a park in Oakland, California in 1951 when he was 6 years old. He was playing with his older brother when a woman approached him and promised to buy him candy. After being kidnapped, he was flown to the East Coast and raised by a couple there. Albino's niece took a DNA test in 2020 and matched with Luis. Authorities were able to locate her long-lost relative, and he reunited with his brother Roger in California just before Roger's passing.
I'm sad now because his parents never saw him again.
The tragic day is finally arriving. The Daily Mail is now less than 1 million followers away from becoming the most followed news account on TikTok.
Yeah.
And when they do, they will officially end TikTok's reign as the only major social media platform where a creator is the most followed news source, not mainstream media. The only one left. Now don't worry, it is not over yet. The News Daddy Empire will continue to put up a valiant fight to the very end.
All right,
with their
Dylan.
average of 28 posts a day, I fear we may be far out-resourced and outnumbered.
This guy is genuinely a more trustworthy source than Daily Mail.
Scariest bird sounds in the world.
Scariest bird sounds?
Liar bird.
Well, that's not going to tell the truth, is it? Is that real? Oh, I don't believe that one. That's a bit scary. Shoe Bill? Hello, Bill?
Ooh.
Who's getting shot there? That's not real. Look at the size like a dinosaur. Oh, get away from me. The cassowary. I'm sorry, but that bird looks like it's giving Glock Glock 3000.
Kiwi bird.
Kiwi bird. Oh, we have this.
This can't be...
T-Rex. Sounds like T-Rex.
Capuchin bird.
Oh, that's a pretty name. Oh. God, it sounds like, you know, the old dial-up internet on your the broadband when you used to connect to your internet.
Ooh.
What was that? Oh, okay, that's one a little bit more, you know, believable. Oh.
Kookaburra.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Ooh.
Sounds like me trying to start up my bloody banged up Fiat 500. What the hell? That is crazy. Is this real? Or am I being mugged off? White bellbird? That ain't real. That ain't real.
That one is cool, but...
No.
6-year-old boy who went missing 70 years ago was found alive and was recently reunited with his family. Luis Albino was only 6 years old in 1951 when he disappeared from a park in Oakland. A woman lured him away and he was taken to the East Coast where he was raised by another family. Albino's family folks never stopped searching for him. His mom even kept a vigil for him until she died. But the case went cold. Finally, an ancestry test by his niece 4 years ago found a 22% match. Family reached out and later reunited, saying there were tears all around.
Just imagine the amount of missing people out there living right now and have no idea that they are a missing person.
Pio, he had this prophecy. He talks about these 3 days of darkness that is going to come right before the Lord comes. It was one of the most terrifying things I've ever read. So he talks about these 3 days of darkness and the Lord being basically fed up with the sins of man. Like it's like kind of hit the breaking point. And he urges everyone, all the believers, to barricade themselves inside, close their windows, shut their doors, and don't exit the house for 3 days. Fire will rain down. There'll be poisonous gases, all this stuff. I'm like, that kind of sounds like a nuclear fallout a little bit, you know? He said the war of 1950 shall be the introduction to these things. That was the start of the Korean War. So it was a separation of North Korea and South Korea.
The Bible does say old men dream dreams, young men. So we know that there's something along those lines that is going to happen. But also when you look at like the history of our faith and like in scripture alone, in scripture is enough. So anytime we have like addition to canon, which would be potentially,
I don't know.
We're not supposed to have a spirit of fear.
No.
So if it's inciting fear.
No, but there's a readiness.
What if I told you every celebrity you've ever known, from musicians to actors to politicians, isn't real? They're all characters. Hollywood is way more advanced than they let on. We're not just talking about makeup or CGI. We're talking about full-blown identity fabrication on a scale that would blow your mind. Every celebrity is just a role played by an elite group of actors using crazy advanced Hollywood techniques. I mean, think about it. Makeup artists, voice coaches, body doubles, deepfakes. Hollywood's had this tech for decades. They can make anyone look like anyone. What you think is a celebrity's natural appearance, it's a costume. They're trained to play roles, not just in movies, but in life. This whole thing is to control us, man. Celebrities influence how we think, what we wear, what we care about. They're there to sell ideas, lifestyles, keep us distracted from real problems. And when their character expires, whether through scandal, old age, or even deletes, those actors just take on a new role. Some of the biggest names today could have been playing different characters for decades. You ever notice how when one big pop star fades out of the spotlight, another one who looks suspiciously similar pops up? Like, where did that person come from? They're always just there. What if they didn't fade away? They just switched characters. Some of the biggest celebrity deletes in history, they weren't real. They just retired those characters, and those actors went on to play different roles. Hollywood has been using prosthetics, body doubles, and now even AI for years.
Yeah, AI.
But the real secret, they've perfected face and voice changing technology. We're talking micro implants that can change vocal tone, advanced bodysuits to alter physical appearance, and even psychological conditioning to make the actor believe they are the character. This stuff is beyond anything we've seen publicly. They've got this down to a science, man. Entire studios exist just to train these elite actors in multiple celebrity roles. These people live entire lives as different celebrities, flipping between roles depending on what the industry needs at the time. If you look at the way these celebrity lives unfold, how perfectly timed their rises and falls are, how eerily similar some of them look and sound, you can't help but wonder. There's something way bigger going on in Hollywood than we're being told.
Tamara Magdalene on YouTube exposed a lot of mind-blowing stuff on Hollywood. She's disappeared now. I wonder why.
You know what? Let's just keep going. I need more information, and so do y'all. Again, this is solid marble. This is my singing bowl. I'm gonna hit in a second. And when I do hit my singing bowl, that sound is gonna reverberate through this Tartarian structure. And that frequency, you already know, it's gonna bounce off these walls, resonate, and it's gonna come back to your boy.
Wow.
That's free energy heating right there. We didn't make that. Look at this. This is solid. This is solid. We didn't add that in there. That's Tartarian. And I'm just showing y'all these videos. Look at the intricacy. Look at the intricacy of that. Right? Look at that. You know how we do things. You know how we do. If it was us, we would have made a copy cut of this and made all windows the same. Right next to it. Look at that. Look at that. Anybody with glass knowledge, color knowledge, anything. Look at that. What?
What?
This right here. Look at this. This says 1920 when this was built, quote unquote. It wasn't built in 1920. That's a solid piece of marble. It's one piece. They don't even have the tools to do that. Hello, beautiful. Do you mind? Thank you. Take your time. If you can't, I can't move the camera slow enough because every shot is just something even more majestic than the. Let's just go up here. Let's see what we got here. You did that in stained glass. You did this in stained glass. In 1920, this place was constructed in 1921 and it was done by 1926. You guys did this in 5 years. 5 years. Look at that. Okay, I'm about to end this video because it's about time for me to sit down, meditate, play my singing bowl, and, you know, do my thing. Oh, let me just move on over here real quick. What do y'all think these are? Not only, actually, let me zoom back out. I want y'all to see the perfection of this. Come right here to the center. Let me center this for you. Boom. What? What? Huh? Excuse me? Look at any Tartarian video. You will see these in there. I already know these are made out of lead and copper. Look at them. Perfect resonators. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Oh, man. Tartarian.
I just looked it up, that Latin word about the main doors, sapientiae, and it means wisdom. They knew something back then.
Kevin Hart. You did so much to get to where you are in your career, just to most likely watch the shit crash and burn. If y'all didn't know already, Kevin Hart just closed down all 4 of his locations to his food restaurant called Hart House. That's not by coincidence. Y'all know he was attending them Diddy parties, right? Not just one time, I'm talking about multiple times. He loved it there. Y'all can even search on the web one of the footages from when Kevin Hart was there doing live commentary. Had girls in bikinis and shit, ain't no problem with that. But it's the shit that happened in that video before they cut it. Y'all go look it up. Kevin Hart's wife is considering divorcing this man because allegedly she got footage from one of the Diddy parties that Kevin Hart attended and she did not like what she seen, bruh. I'm talking about it was some crazy shit. So then more recently, he did an interview where he was talking about why him and Cat Williams had beef. And he said it was over Tiffany Haddish or some shit like that. But no, that's not the case. You know why y'all had beef. You did what they wanted Cat Williams to do. I'm gonna keep y'all updated on this situation. Hit that follow button. Share this, like this. It's getting spooky.
Man, ever since Cat Williams' interview, it's been crashing and burning. Oh. Diddy calls him Crusher instead of Usher.
3 rules Russian women have to stay attractive and hot and skinny and desirable. Rule number 1, let him. Russian woman will never check where her man is, why he's late from work, check his phone, worrying about if he loves me or he doesn't love me or what's going on or why he's blah blah blah. How does it connect it to beauty? When you put yourself on the first place in your life, it reduces your stress.
Ooh.
Stress hormones going down, beauty going
I
up.
like
Once
that.
you let the man B, he will automatically drag his attention and interest to you. Let him do his job, and if he doesn't do the job, there is no him. Should be in your life, right? Also less stress. Number 2, do not let yourself to get fat. Watch what you're eating, girl. Fast food once a month. Getting Starbucks, get sugar-free. Number 3, it correlates with number 1, but I'm gonna say it. Russians put their beauty and their well-being on the first place. Doesn't matter, you have kids, you have husband, you are coming first. Cooking dinner, sit down and eat. Don't run around with water, napkins. Serve yourself a normal plate, relax and chill. Find yourself time for the gym, for your activities, what you want to do. Get yourself that nice gym membership. Get yourself that skincare, that makeup. Put yourself first. Do not become a servant, a service person to your family. There's no one getting happy because of that.
She got a point there, ladies. But let me know how you feel about this in the comment.
You guys ain't hear what happened to Pitbull? You remember Pitbull. He made all the party music we grew up listening to and was known as Mr. Worldwide until the internet decided to ruin it. See, Pitbull decided to hold a contest online where whatever Walmart receives the most likes online would get a visit from him. But this is where he got finessed. See, the internet heard about this and started a trend called Exile Pitbull, where the goal was to send him to the most remote and middle of nowhere Walmart in the world. And they chose this one in Kodiak, Alaska, where there's only 6,000 people alive in the town. And when you look it up, it says you need bear repellent because the town has the same amount of bears as it does people.
What?
And the guy who started this was Pitbull's #1 op because he had him and others vote to send him away just because they don't like his music. But he had to honor his promise. But Walmart told him, look bro, you don't have to do this. He still went anyways. Everyone thought they trolled him until he pulled up to a town in the middle of nowhere and still performed. The people didn't even think he was gonna come. He was gifted bear repellent and this went down as one of Walmart's biggest marketing campaigns ever. And still to this day, this is why he's known as Mr. Worldwide.
Pitbull is from the projects. He ain't scared of Alaska.
The end of the world has begun. Watch this.
Words may sound different, but the Pope gathered them into one voice in his effort to bring all religions together.
Peace, peace, peace. Lead us from untruth to truth, from darkness to light.
Grant us to live with the salutation of peace
and secure. May all beings have happy minds.
Representatives of the Hindu, Buddhist, Jain, Sikh, Native American, Jewish, Islamic, and Christian communities of New York City that welcome Holy Father.
Now, why do I say the end of the world has begun? Because the Bible talks about a one world religion, and that's what they're talking about. They're talking about all the religions praising one God. Like, what in the world? Wake up. Subscribe or follow for more Jesus.
They will be saying peace, 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 but there will be no peace. There is only one way. If you know, you know.
Why your back actually hurts, nobody knows this. I guarantee it. It took me years of fasting and learning about inflammation to understand this, but I'm going to break it down. It's going to be simple. If you go to the doctors barely know anything about this organ called the mesentery. What is the mesentery? The mesentery is an organ that is basically on your back that connects to your entire digestive system. It's a sac that processes all the food that comes in and that goes out. So all the food that comes from your lymphatic system has to go through this system to be able to be excreted. But the problem is most people's mesenteries are highly inflamed, hence the back pain. That's why when you go to the doctor and you do a colonoscopy, they'll say, oh, yep, everything looks good. They'll do a blood test. They'll say, yep, everything looks good, because your other organs are doing their jobs, but the mesentery is not. So what can you do about it? You can do some things, but they're not going to be as easy as you would like. The first thing you can do is go on a fast, because when you fast, your body will start consuming this toxic lymph that is stuck in your lymphatic system, that is in your mesentery. That's why when you don't eat, you feel that burn. What is that burn? That burn is the mesentery trying to break down and move the stuck lymph.
I believe you, man.
Pray before every decision, big or small. God is in the little details of your life.
Amen. Yes, sir. Some decisions need the assurance of God's voice in them.
New Yorkers, when you move to Long Island, who's that parked in front of my house? Does anyone know who car this is?
I like this guy.
I'm coming home with 12 bagels. I got a little bit of everything. Let me get a coffee from 7-Eleven. I'm not opening the pool this year. I'm the only one that cleans this pool. My wife went to Riverhead with her girlfriends to the winery. I'm going to go on John's boat. Oh, no, we're not going out. We're just going to sit on the boat and drink. We're going to try to catch blue claws. I'm sorry, sitting on a boat and not going nowhere is just weird to me. My son got a game in Wand Dance. Yeah, I know. My son got a game in Brentwood. Yeah, I know. They're like the East New Yorks of Long Island. The traffic to Jones Beach is crazy. I'm not going to the air show. The air show is amazing, but it took me 2 hours to get home. I'm going to Home Depot. Now I'm at Lowe's. Now I'm back at Home Depot. Give me a slice of Little Vincent's. And who remembers the crazy donkey?
I want to live in Long Island. Sounds nice.
All right, heifers, I'm here to blow your mind again, because beef tallow is not only for cooking. My very most favorite thing to use it for is skincare. And every year I make a bunch of beef tallow balm that I use on my face every day. I use it all over my body, sunburns, scrapes, cuts, I don't care. So first what you want to do is you're going to take your beef suet, like we talked about in our last video, you're going to render it down. You saw that there were some impurities that sank to the bottom of this tallow once I had put it in the fridge. That's why I scraped those off and I'm melting it down again. That's rendering it again. This is the second render. I'm going to put it through another cheesecloth just because I want this to be super pure because I'm using it on my skin. So we put it through the cheesecloth again. We put it back in our stainless steel bowl and we put it in the fridge, freezer overnight, and you'll see it hardened up. And the bottom at this render is super clear. This is white. This smells like, has a little bit of a tallow smell to it, but it's not a strong scent. This is good. This is ready to use. So I'm going to chunk it up, add it back to my pan so I can add my oils to it. I choose to use jojoba oil or jojoba oil. I'm not sure how the hell you say it, but I add that oil to it because it keeps it at more of a whipped texture when it's hard and at room temperature. And then I also add frankincense because frankincense is so good for your skin. And it adds a smell that I just love. Some people don't like the smell of frankincense. I love it. So you're gonna just mix that in with your tallow at liquid temperature. And then as it cools, you're gonna whip it, and it's gonna start getting whipped.
Wow.
It's truly all it is. It's 3 ingredients. As it cools, you whip it, and it creates this beautiful freaking texture. I put it on my face. I put it on my body. No, it's not gonna clog your pores. Your skin might have to adjust to it if you're going from a bunch of store-bought crap. But I'm telling you, this stuff is amazing. I'll never give up on it.
Sell me some.
Enjoy.
So everyone's talking about the sphere and these weird cryptic messages that it's displaying. I was able to grab a video of it because I lived right next to the sphere and I walk past it every day. I'm going to slow it down and see if you can see what it's saying. Did you catch that? It said work is the blackmail of survival. See, to prove to you, that's the sphere right there. I'm going to try and slow it down and see if you guys can catch those words.
You are spreading negative energy by words now.
Chosen ones are marked. Now, when you are a chosen one, you hold a special mark. This mark is seen by angels, demons, and any other entities in the spirit world. It's a spiritual mark. It's a universal mark. And you had this mark when you was born, and you will have this mark until you leave this earth. Angels know that you're marked. Why do you think you're guided by angels? Why do you think angels are always trying to connect with you? It can be through numbers, visions, shapes. But demons know that you're marked as well. Why do you think you're chosen? You get attacked. You know, people always trying to try you. The mistreatment. Because you have to understand, on the astral plane, when these demons see you, demons will literally cahoot with other people just to get to you and bring you down.
Chosen ones get attacked. Be strong and have Jesus.
When you see this stuff in America, you know what's really weird? All the state capitol buildings that don't really match up. Like, why did they build something that was straight out of ancient Rome in like Iowa? You know, like in Nebraska.
2,500 people live in a town somewhere, and they build a post office that has 700 rooms and is like an ancient castle. It's the same like with the Mormon temple, where they said they went out to Utah, you know, with horse and buggy and nobody else out there, and they supposedly built this wonder of the world castle with no rails and no dump trucks and no cranes, and it goes down 40 to 60 feet underground with more building. And
even think about like the 1 year timelines. And a lot of these buildings are 1 year wonders, where they created this very elaborate stone building in 1 year. But then you think about some of these places that have 1 year timelines, and then they work in like
permafrost,
you know, Albany, Syracuse, New York, these crazy places like that. Explain to me how much work they're getting done in the dead of winter, when the roads would have been horrible. Then you add snow on it, and then the logistics make no sense. Even think, like I said, go back to World War II. We're told that the Germans were not necessarily defeated by the Russian army. They were defeated by the Russian winter.
Yeah.
Because even with the high-tech German stuff, they couldn't even move the equipment during a harsh Russian winter. So that is like the highest tech stuff in the 40s. And then you're talking about these things were built with horses and buggies in the 1840s.
We are just now, through technology, internet, etc., finding out we've been living on a lie. So many questions, no answers.
Well. A lot of stuff going down ever since P. Diddy went to jail. Speaking of slippery slopes, a lot of people are leaving their jobs. I have a list of people that are like stepping down. You know, that's the word they use, it, stepping down, instead of getting the out of here. Nike CEO John Donahue has stepped down. That's why Nike has the best slogan, just do it. He's like, I'm just going to do it. I'm out of here. We have the CEO of Nashville, Sony Music, Randy Goodman. He's stepping down. He's like, it's Nashville, on the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again and drive fast all the way down the road. Okay. CEO of Warner Music Japan, Kaz Kobayashi. He's stepping down. He's like, it is time for me to step down. Sayonara!
I like
we
that.
We have CEO of 300 Entertainment, Kevin Lyles. Yeah, he's stepping down. He said it's time to pass the torch.
Diddy's friend.
Yeah, that torch fell and you burned shit. That's what happened. And, you know, it's very odd that Kevin Lyles kind of looks like Russell Simmons. Yep. No, just look at them. They kind of have the same shaped head and smile. I know one thing. That Russell Simmons yoga class is about to be packed. I can just see it now. Good morning. How you doing? It's I have a very packed yoga class now. Everybody's loving yoga all of a sudden.
Mosquito, I got it.
Thank you for joining the yoga class. Namaste. Now must go.
Now must go.
As soon as Diddy got arrested, these CEOs are acting like Shaggy and Scooby. Zoinks! Like, wow, Scoob, Diddy's been arrested. Huh? Diddy's been arrested?
2024, the year of the truth.
Truth is, they won't even know you're hurt because they never looked at you the way you looked at them.
Wow. I felt that too hard.
Diddy was connected to Michael Jackson's death. We all know Michael Jackson like hated the industry, like the rap, because on an award show, he went up and like when he got his award, he's like, these artists do so much and these companies take advantage of them. And he's like, I'm leaving, I think it was Sony he basically owns Sony. So he's like, I'm leaving, I don't think they'll like this. So how does this relate to Diddy? Diddy, his head security, his name is Fahan, I think. And Fahan, when Michael Jackson died, before he died, he was Michael Jackson's head security. Fahan, he's like the Lester, people are saying, in GTA. Whenever employed by Diddy and you get into police or you get pulled over, you called Fahan, he'll get you out of everything. So they had police help. Michael Jackson died 2009. Fahan graduated in business in 2008. Business? How do you go from a business diploma to the head of the #1 musical artist in this generation? Right away.
He got connected.
Exactly. Fahan was part of his murder and Diddy is connected somehow because he was the second person on the scene when Michael Jackson died.
What is Diddy's position in the industry? Because I don't understand it anymore.
I was hoping that somebody would comment this on the video because I'm really not sure if I can actually say this on TikTok, but if you look up Revelation 3:9, it says, those of you who are of the synagogue of Satan who claim to be Jews and are not. That is what God's word tells us. Their Messiah is the Antichrist. That is why they are building the third temple. That is why they are sacrificing the red heifers. That is why we are watching all of these things take place that God tells us would happen in order for the Antichrist to step out onto the scene. Those things were not happening 50 years ago. Those things were not happening 10 years ago. They are happening right now to usher in their Messiah, to usher in the Antichrist. Ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you, we are so close to going home.
Don't have self-awareness, you can't possibly change yourself. Everybody wants to think they can change themselves. That's why self-help books sell so well. A lot of that, I believe, is nonsense, a lot of what's written, because it's not realistic. You're not seeing who people really are. You're not digging underneath and getting at what really motivates human behavior. So I wanted a very realistic, brutal look at the human animal. It's not all negative. We have some positive traits. But once you realize, oh, I am capable of feeling envy. Oh, I am irrational at times. Oh, I have a dark side. With that awareness, you can actually finally start to change yourself.
Self-awareness is great, but in order to change, you need a radical honesty too.
So there are phenomena that are emerging from other dimensions that occasionally interface with this dimension of 3D space-time, and people will call them alien, but they're not. A lot of people will see something like that, and there is evidence for strange, like Stranger Things, right? And those can be from another dimension, but they're not extraterrestrial. An extraterrestrial biological entity is from another star system and planet. To go from point A to B, they are dropping out of linear space-time and traversing other dimensions. So some of the phenomenon that's extraterrestrial looks very, very close to something from another dimension.
Gresh never said extraterrestrial or alien, he said interdimensional. I think that that's incredibly important. They're not necessarily a biological entity from another planet per se.
We are being primed and conditioned for a full Project Bluebeam experience. Beware, folks.
We used to be quite a middle class to upper class family. Like, we used to live in a very big condo. My mom got into credit card debt. She got $44,000 in debt. That's how we got bumped from higher class to low class. And then it got even worse. And then now we are in a rental flat. Yeah. People in rental flats, they are trying. I know that they are trying, but sometimes it's like something's out of their control, you know, like maybe their education level is not high enough to get a stable enough job or high paying enough job to support them. Mom actually used her credit card to help my dad with his business. And it kind of didn't go well. We were $44,000 in debt. And then at that same time, both my grandparents had cancer. These things were happening at the wrong time. And somehow I was schooling at that time also. So it's just like all the money was just racking up. So that's how we were able to get this rental flat, because we had really no money at all. The moment both my grandparents passed away and we had to pay for the funeral, that's when we reached the poverty line. During a time when things were very hard, right, for us money-wise, I had to skip some meals, like some days, because I had to save money. During the holidays, I'll work part-time to get some extra cash. So I just have like 1 meal a day, or just have no meal at all. Nothing nutritious, it's like cup noodle. Yeah, so it's very cheap, very not sustainable. Schooling-wise, a lot of it I have to pay with my own money. So I have to like work very hard so that I can get scholarships and so that I can get like, you know, financial assistance. When you are going through kind of like low-key poverty kind of lifestyle, you realize like, I don't want to continue living like this. So that's why I like focus on my studies. I try not to go home because it's not that nice to be home. So I'll just like spend like late nights in school. I'll go to my friend's house and like we'll study, and then I'll make sure that I get good enough grades to be in like director's list or get sponsorships and scholarships. This all happened out of my control. I just somehow ended here. Yeah, so I kind of like look around at my friends, like other people, and you see them like, oh, going for holidays or going to JB. It's been really hard, like mentally, emotionally. I think there was like 1 month where I kept crying because I was telling my friends like, oh, I just don't want to live like this anymore. My friends have been very helpful, and they helped me get out of that, like, you know, very sad emo hours. And that's why I'm like very thankful that, you know, like maybe something's happened for a reason. After saving like up enough money, I finally managed to go overseas. Not once, but twice. I went to Korea and Japan, which is like the countries I really wanted to go to. Traveling with my own money is really such a big milestone for me because it made me realize like things can only get better from here.
Stay positive and work your way up. Take this experience as a lesson and be successful.
Innocent gestures that can get you killed overseas. In North America, flashing the good old thumbs up means that this is good. But in the Middle East and parts of West Africa and South America, holding that digit in the air is quite offensive and roughly translates to, I'm going to stick my thumb up your butt. Elsewhere, in Italy and Greece, giving someone the thumbs up is seen as the equivalent of saying up yours. If someone you're talking to is rambling and you need to slow them down or you need to tell a car to halt, the gesture that you'd use is the stop sign, an open palm facing the person that you're addressing in North America. In Greece, throwing this hand sign to someone is known as the mutsa and dates back to the Byzantine Empire, where criminals had their faces blacked out with cinder or poop. This gesture essentially means I want your face to be covered in feces.
If you ever go to Indonesia, don't do this.
The US government had a hand in his death.
Oh my God.
And right there between the studs and the drywall was this plastic bag. And there's... what the videotapes. Obviously, Dustin had put them in there.
In 1997, in the skies above the city of Phoenix, a terrifying incident occurs that over 10,000 people witnessed.
Strange lighting in the skies.
Emergency systems would be completely overwhelmed by the amount of calls reporting the exact same thing.
John, dude, check it out. Oh my God, what the is that? Stuff? Yeah, I got both of them.
At the same time, there were 4 campers out in the desert in the outskirts of the city, and what they would capture would blow the US government's cover story completely out of the water.
I bet a movie is really soon. It's like the Blair Witch Project.
If you're really a millionaire, give me $100 million right now.
Sure thing, but I want something in return.
I'll do anything.
Okay, well, I'll write out a check for 100% of my net worth, but in return, I want to swap bodies.
But what do I have that you don't?
Well, you're young, sharp, and obviously energetic, and you have the most valuable asset of all, time. So lock in and make something of yourself, because you know what? People will pay millions for what you have.
Yeah, whatever. Write the check, Unc.
Hollywood is going to die in the next 20 years because of that. What's always worked is great movies, and we're not doing that anymore.
What did change?
Streaming. 80s, great stories. 90s, great stories. Early 2000s, no more great stories, because the pipe went from here to here. They want the money. The machine of Hollywood wants the money, not the art, not the quality film like Jerry Maguire. They don't want that. They used to, but that generation's that decade of those storytelling is gone. The next time a guy like comes along with a beautiful Jerry Maguire, they're gonna go, where's Barbie? Why can't the kid who's the son of the guy playing Jerry Maguire hold a Barbie? Because, we have certain paid advertisements, and if they click on the Barbie, Look at all the MCU. Just Robert Downey Jr. now will go from being Iron Man to Mr. Dr. Doom. Isn't there somebody else that could play Dr. Doom, Patrick? I bet you there is, but the system feeds itself. They will tell the MCU audience, Robert Downey Jr. is the best Dr. Doom. And you know what they're going to do?
Yeah.
Instead of, hey, what about this unknown actor in this great film that won the Audience Choice Awards at the Sundance Film Festival, and it reflects all the wonderful stuff we thought about Jerry Maguire. You know what Hollywood's going to say to that? Kill him.
Same happened to music. After the 2000, it all went bad.
First time I ever did DMT, I left my body and I could see my body sitting on the couch, and then everything turned white and I was just floating in this white void. And then this line appeared in front of me and opened up, and 3 ETs walked towards me. And this is, I had never heard about ETs with DMT. I didn't know anything about psychedelics. I had not done anything like this. And these 3 ETs walk towards me and they say, "We are interdimensional beings traveling along the timeline of human existence, trying to find out when humans found their power. In 2012, a portal had opened where humans cannot go backwards, they can only progress forward. And the power of the human lies between," they pointed at the heart but said soul, the soul and the brain. And then the little line closed in the wall, and then I was back in my body, and I was like, what just happened?
Those were demons. Be careful.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's options are narrowing. Hamas's brutal murder of 6 hostages at the weekend tears at the social compact between the Israeli people and the state they expect to look after them, to prioritize them. The pressure that these protests are putting on the Prime Minister to get all the hostages home are being met with deaf ears. The Prime Minister doubling down on his position, refusing to compromise with Hamas, saying that that would be the wrong message to send. He is also using the powers of the court to shut down the powerful unions in Israel that are trying to bring out more protests, that are trying to shut down the airport, the ports, the buses, the vital infrastructure of the country that the government relies on. His options are narrowing, but he still has supporters in his cabinet, hard right-wing members that are still standing by him. The people at the protest promise to continue to keep coming out, but he is ignoring them.
Good. Israeli people know this is Netanyahu's fault. Get him out.
Touch this. I'm Dr. Tanya Elliott, board certified internal medicine specialist and allergist. Most receipts use thermal paper containing bisphenols or BPA, and they are easily absorbed into the bloodstream. These chemicals are toxic, and a study showed 80% of receipts contain toxic BPA. What do these chemicals do to your body? They're the famous hormone disruptors, which could impact fertility, hormone balance, and increased risk of certain cancers. Now, I don't want to be an alarmist here, but just opt for an email receipt.
The real toxicity is the cost of the groceries.
The way you make yourself necessary and others dependent on you is to be the only person who can do this job. You are so unique. There's only one Elon Musk. There's only one Steve Jobs. They're irreplaceable. They're not afraid to be themselves, to have their own style. And so, that's what secures their position. So if I wrote books like everybody else, I wouldn't have that position of power. But because I'm the only one, for better or for worse, who can write books the way I do, I have secured a position in the publishing world. So it's a law that applies everywhere.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Former NASA scientist is attempting to prove that we live in a simulation. Now, here's a fun fact. This is Tom Campbell, ex-NASA scientist, and I actually spoke at a conference with him in 2023. We both spoke at the International Mandela Effect Conference, and I got to hear him speak, and it was amazing. And I've been following him for a while now. And now he started an organization that is set out to prove that we live in a simulation. And he's going to essentially do a series of experiments that tries to attempt to remove the observer, human being observation, mechanical computer observation, to prove that we are literally rendering reality as we observe it. So this is pretty exciting. He started this organization back in 2017, and his experiments are ongoing as we speak. At I think Cal Poly is one of the top places that he's conducting these experiments at. And but this is pretty interesting, because if he's able to show this, then this changes a lot of worldviews, a lot of scientific views. It changes everything, really. So what do you think? Do you think that we're living in a simulation? And do you think that Tom Campbell can prove it? Let me know.
NASA scientists, that's a red flag. And if it's a simulation, why choose such a difficult life?
Did you hear about Africa splitting into 2 continents?
What? This is crazy.
So I looked into it a little more this morning, and it's been happening for a good minute.
Okay.
But it's like I think this past year, it's starting in Kenya, but just like overnight, it's a couple kilometers long. Just this valley just went.
Massive crater. How deep is it?
It's
like a physical one, not like a topographical one.
No, well, that would be, both of those would be
I meant
physical.
like a mapographical.
What? You know, like a mapographical.
Literally, it looks like something straight out of like a Dwayne The Rock Johnson like catastrophe movie.
Okay.
Where literally the earth is split open.
It's like 60 feet wide. Right now, it's like 50 feet deep.
Wow.
And they're saying that a new ocean is going to form into it.
I did hear about something like that.
But it's
wow.
they're saying Africa, it's literally this part of Africa is going to like just split off.
That's crazy.
Like how they say Florida's going to?
Do they say that?
Florida's going to sink.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think Florida's
kind of like
gonna-
Venice.
Hold your breath.
Physically going to split into 2 continents. I thought you were saying like
Emotionally, it's going to split.
Shut
Sean Puffy Combs' federal charges have little, if anything, to do with domestic abuse or pedophilia. His major sex crime federally is he's being accused of transporting women across state lines to engage in sex. What we call prostitution. Not Casey, not the freak-offs, not underage girls, but prostitution. Why am I bringing this up?
Why?
Because I don't support prostitution either. I do not support men paying for the sugar box. I do not support black women having to sexually exploit their sugar box in order to pay their bills. With that being said, prostitution is the oldest female business on the planet Earth. Prostitution is the oldest female business on the planet Earth. Prostitution is the oldest female business on the planet
One more
Earth.
time.
It is the sexual trafficking that Sean Puffy Combs is being accused of. Not domestic abuse, not freak-offs, not stomping out Cassie, not engaging in sex with underage women. It is interstate sexual trafficking. That is the charge. Why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up, please God, because when I listen to the news, they're not talking about the evidence against Sean Puffy Combs. When I listen to the news, they're not talking about the evidence of Sean Puffy Combs. When I listen to the
Man,
news,
you're gonna
I
repeat
have
again.
yet to hear anybody give me a specific piece of interstate sex trafficking evidence against Sean Puffy Combs. I'ma say it again. I'ma say it for the low political IQ Negroes. I'ma say it for the average political IQ Negroes. And I'ma say it for the high IQ Negroes. I haven't seen or heard a single piece of evidence against Sean Puffy Combs. I ain't read it in the New York Times. I ain't read it in the Philadelphia Inquirer. I ain't heard it on CNN. I ain't seen it on headline news. Where is the evidence that Sean Puffy Combs engaged in interstate sex trafficking? I keep hearing about Cassie when I turn on the news. Why are we hearing about Cassie when Cassie has nothing to do with the federal indictment? I don't think any black man should have 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I don't think any black man needs 1,000 bottles of baby oil. But I haven't seen anywhere in federal law where owning 1,000 bottles of baby oil is a federal crime. Brothers
You
and
got a
sisters,
point
are
there.
you with me so far?
Brothers and sisters, are you with me so far? Do you understand, overstand, and understand what the most requested black scholar in the world is saying right now? Do you understand and overstand and understand what the most requested black scholar in the world is saying right now? Do you understand, overstand, and understand what the premier Pan-Africanist on the planet is saying to you right now? Baby oil is not a federal crime. Stomping out Cassie, he was not charged with a crime. The freak-offs are not crimes. So why do we keep hearing about Cassie? Why do we keep hearing about baby oil? Why do we keep hearing about freak-offs? Where are the federal charges and why are the charges being sealed? Why did the feds seal the charges against Sean Puffy Combs? I'm going to tell you one reason why the feds sealed the charges against Sean Puffy Combs. One of the biggest reasons they sealed the charges against Sean Puffy Combs,
because he was black,
is because the evidence is probably weak. The evidence is probably weak.
I thought he was going to say that.
And because the evidence is probably weak, that he is guilty of interstate sex trafficking, and because the evidence is probably weak that he is guilty of interstate sex trafficking, they had to seal the charges. They had to hide the charges from you and I. They had to hide the charges from you and I long enough for the public execution to be carried out.
Dr. Umar defending him like he was at a Diddy party.
What are the top 4 countries with the most amount of scammers? Pakistan. No, we're not on the list. Why do you always blame Pakistan, bro?
Bro, if the Pakistan is not on the list, this list is sponsored by Pakistan. Trust me.
Okay, well, they're not on the list. But your country's on the list?
India?
Yeah, India's number 2.
I don't believe it. I don't believe this list. Sri Lanka?
No, they're not on the list.
Nepal?
No, they're not on the list.
India.
Bangladesh?
No, they're not on the list. Why are you saying about South Asian countries?
Bro, all the Asians, but India is in the list?
Yeah, because that's where the second round most scammers are from the world.
China?
China's number 4. That's good. Country number 3 is north of China and India. Think about the biggest country in the world.
Canada?
Canada's north of China and India.
But it's the biggest.
It's not the biggest country in the world. It's the second biggest. Think about Vladimir Putin.
Russia.
Russia has the 3rd amount of most scammers in the world.
But Pakistan is not there.
No, it's not on the list.
Bro, I don't trust it, bro.
Okay, number 1. Think about Africa. Bitcoin scammers.
Nigeria.
You?
What?
You are a scammer.
No, I'm not. No, it's in Africa, bro.
South Africa?
No, north of it, I think.
Nigeria.
Yeah, Nigeria's number 1.
I knew that. These guys on my car.
Nigerians here, say wagwan in the comment.
Irrigated, the red, blue, green, whatever you guys have.
What?
Irrigated.
Gatorade.
What?
Legit, sis, pure gold.